We are live. Okay? We're live. We're at the cafe. New cafe this time. And we're working. We're working. We're at the cafe. We're being Hugo. Cool. Right? All right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, wow. Thank you. It's plastic. Plastic fork. Plastic bottles. I don't know how I feel about that. Do you understand? I'm sitting at a cafe with my laptop in front of me and a phone tripod, and I'm streaming from my phone, and I'm eating pasta, and I'm having a cappuccino. I'm wearing a cool shirt. I got AirPods on, and they don't fall out. I don't want to get the shit on my shirt. That would be negative aura. You get it? This is what it's about. Do you understand? Like, this is the magic sauce. I'm just vibing. You know what I mean? It's all this TikTok. All this woman who wanted like coffee during her pasta or something, and the waiter like purposely took long because apparently you don't do that. It's the only way. Sorry, it's the only reason I'm allowing my coffee to get cold. Because I'm not a dweeb. I'm not gonna disrespect Italian tradition while having Italian food. Literally, for pasta and coffee. I don't even remember if she was having pasta. I should have sold water in. I'm gonna get some work done at the same time. I've been trying to compile like all the issues that come with this problem, like in my Google Doc. But I think I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. No, 11. I've got 11, and I don't know when to stop. I don't know when to stop because it is loud in here. What? It was actually like pretty decent. So I'm thinking about like what goes into this, like all the things I've been doing. like to get to where I am now. Because we're on day 30 now, right? Day 30. And like, the sauce is really good. I'm just gonna like, I wanna sip it. You get it? Cheese is a delicacy. I feel like because I've been writing it like in a linear format, there's like a kind of confusion about like where to take it once I've reached a certain point, and I keep hitting like a roadblock. But if I just create the skeleton of it, if I just create the skeleton, then I think it'll be better, right? Because like then I can make it so the transition between different parts is a lot more convenient, right? And if I write it in bullet points and like start turning them into paragraphs later, I'll probably have an easier time like turning it into something that's cohesive and works like from beginning to end as a persuasive argument. But I don't know if that's the best way. I don't know. And the other way might work better for you, but for me, I'm just like I don't say it unless I know exactly how far. Like it's hard for me to run if I don't know exactly how far I need to run. Right? It's like a mental thing with me. Mamma mia! Right? So I'm thinking about like all the things that go into this mode of competitive content creation. Right? I stream every day. How to live stream, self content. Right? So there's a live streaming aspect. You need to know how to live stream and how do you gradually progress and don't just stagnate because I'm noticing that every step where I feel like I hit a certain point, there's a stagnation because you feel like oh, I'm doing so much, this has to be productive, but it's grunt work. A lot of it, it's not progressive thinking. It's not something that creates actual value. It's just a foundation uh, from which value comes from. So how to live stream, but competitively. being aware of what problems are out there, and based on your niche, what kind of copywriting you want to introduce into your work, right? Sugar. So that's where I'm at right now. Obviously, I'm kind of thinking about all the components that went into this, and it's mostly live streaming shorts, but there's a bit more into it because yes, uh, it's competitive content creation. But the thing about the competitive is there is a skill involved that takes it from just regular content creation to competitive content creation. So I'm just trying to deconstruct, right? And it has a lot to do with statistics, right? Analytics. Like, what do the analytics from the content that you're creating show you about what you need to do next, right? Because the second you're done with one thing, you've reviewed it, everything's solid. It's like, what is the next step? And so, but I'm thinking of a name for it, right? And I don't have one. But I don't want to just call it competitive thinking or something. It's just kind of weak. So I'm thinking, you know what I really like? I like this word that Sam Altman uses. He used it in an interview with Lex Friedman about how they're releasing ChatGPT. Like, instead of just like straight up releasing GPT-5, they kind of went through one, two, three, four, right? And he called it iterative iterative deployment, right? It's like something that like is a bit of a gradual increase on the back end, but on the front end, as a viewer, it's kind of like these leaps in content, and that's what you want to do. Like, obviously for you, it's going to be like a grueling process, but you want it like from the perspective of the audience, you want to increase at an exponential rate, right? Because the way they're like pulling out like ChatGPT is like really interesting, and like people like a good story. So if your story is like starting from zero and slowly making leaps each time and increasing, like that means that makes it so you're not like improving too slowly, going fast enough for it to be time efficient, but going iteratively to make sure that it's still interesting as a story. Like, you don't want to like do a high budget like movie production for your first piece of content as like a creator or like a business person. You want to start off small, and then you want to gradually improve. You want to gradually increase the quality, because a lot of the early days is going to be testing. And you don't want to be testing with like a high amount of budget, right? Testing is a grueling process, and you want to test with the lowest amount of money possible, make it lean and efficient, right? And you use the algorithm itself as your source of like whether this thing works or not. Is it in the current zeitgeist? Is this thinking prominent? Right? Because if you make a video with a certain title, with certain hooks, a certain topic, a certain subject, certain information in mind, um, what you'll find yourself in is certain thing in mind. I forgot what I was talking about. Whatever. We spoke about it yesterday. You find yourself getting great feedback from the algorithm about what is actually in the zeitgeist. And you know, some points that you have on, you know, when you make a list of things, and you know, you're like, oh, this is a problem I want to agitate. This is a problem I want to talk about. I want to go further into it. Some of them might be more pressing, and they may seem more interesting to you, but it's not always what the audience wants. It's not always what your customer base may want. It's not always what your niche is interested in. So you want to be careful of that. And the early phase of this helps you test, right? Like things from weeks ago, if I hammer in that kind of content, I still get a similar response and like a spike in the algorithm. And that is notable, right? That's very notable for me. And as you get those spikes, right, you begin to filter out which parts of the conversation, because it's not always like, you know, something might be in the public eye for like a week and then it's gone. But the underlying emotion that comes from that, once you know what are like important emotions in this niche, like what are people feeling, it's usually that that causes a very similar type of event to occur again as a zeitgeist. And you want to be, you don't want to just be looking at it at face value, right? So I'll give you an example. When I was making content about I got a sudden spike when I started talking about Indian scammers, right? Scammers. When I started talking about scammers, you got a sudden spike in the algorithm. Now, what does that tell me? Does that mean suddenly scammers were a little bit more popular this month or this week or that day? Maybe. But what is the underlying emotion, right? You have AI and you have Indian scammers in the same title. That is fear. That is anxiety. There is a lot of negativity bias when it comes to AI and losing your personal information. And it's very easy for people in this niche to understand what that means because they're aware of, like, the market is aware of this problem, right? And there might be more pressing problems, but if the market is aware of it, they're going to pay more attention to it. So you have to understand, oh, okay, when I'm talking about this, if I press on people's anxiety related to certain topics that are well known, and I can combine them, you'll you'll get more traction. You'll have more people listening. So as part of your argument, you know that you have to reduce anxiety, but also you know that security is a big concern, and that can be a major point in your Google Doc. in your solution document, right? So something to keep note of. Iterative. So I like the word iterative. Iterative deployment. Sure, I'll just rip that off. He doesn't have a he doesn't have a copyright over this, right? Iterative deployment, the method of testing prototype content to poke the algorithm for data, right? The method of testing prototype content to poke the algorithm for data. It is all about data. You have to find a way that AI can't get data. Of course, like it can get it, but AI can't make content the same way that you can. You know, it can review videos, but it can't create them, right? And at least for now, it's not looking for, because what you're looking for is in your mind, right? It's coming out slowly and through a process. AI is just kind of looking at it from like big picture, while you're looking at the little picture, which is in another way a big picture. But what you get into is your perspective on the analysis is a human version, whereas AI is a kind of larger perspective, and it's not reading the data the same way that you are, and that's important because you have to be able to find value where AI cannot operate. Right? Any place that AI cannot operate is now a gold mine because AI is an energy sinkhole. And if you can avoid that sinkhole, then you're avoiding 10x energy costs. And you're gonna do a lot. And if you avoid AI, avoid ads, avoid spending all that money where, in that sinkhole, then you're putting yourself in an advantage. And that's the beauty of this, right? So iterative deployment. Maybe I should change the word deployment because it's already a thing that exists. It's already something that exists, right? Iterative algo probing sounds a little alien. Iterative algo Plotting. Plotting sounds too old English. But, there is an aspect of avoiding AI, so maybe iterative algo testing. Sure, yeah, iterative algo testing. Algo, they're cool, like the kids. Right? This is sauce, guys. This is incredible sauce. I finished the pasta like ages ago. It's still showing up, like me eating the pasta, which is ridiculous. This screen, did it mess up? It's good. I'll have to check whether the stream's even working later. Ah, shit. Well, I hope it's still streaming, but I cannot be sure. How long have I been online for? Um, okay, 39 minutes. I think it's still working, which is a good sign, maybe. Okay, iterative algo testing. That's what we have right now. So we have live streaming um, protocol. We have our source protocol. Oh, we have the competitive live stream protocol. Competitive source protocol. We're not here to play around. All right, this isn't messing about. This is competitive shit. Iterative algo testing. Cool. This is fun stuff. We're really getting into it, right? Now, obviously, we have the live streaming model, and we have the source model, and we have the iterative algo testing, either under or above it, that kind of keeps looping it. And if you imagine that the iterative algo testing is like this thing at the top, and you have the live streaming protocol, which is like a wheel, and you have the shorts protocol, which is another wheel. And let's say it starts from the bottom, and it goes like it starts from there, and it starts like you come up with an idea, you create it, and then once you're like ready for testing, you throw it in to the top thing, right, like this, and once it touches like the iterative algo testing, right, and if it fails, you keep going again, and what you get at the top is information, like going 1,000, 1, 2,000, 3,000. That information that comes up at the top, that's your data, and that informs the next cycle. That informs the next cycle on whether this was a good idea or a bad idea, and you keep testing. And every time you get closer to the idea, you keep going towards that thing in different ways, attacking it from different angles. Every time you get a response from the algorithm, and that's what keeps the wheels going. And then you have a 2D car that goes towards. What does it go towards? I feel like I need to make a graph out of it. Like it'd be cool to. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. I got some graphics, and that keeps the car rolling. Right? I actually like that. Light streaming protocol and shorts protocol are the wheel. They're both the wheels. Iterative algo testing is the car body. And as the wheels rotate and iterate through the body, the constant rotation makes the car move forward on the road to success. And time, each time that you get like a good iterative rotation, the value you get out of it is higher, and then that increases your speed, right? And you want to go faster. The goal is to go faster, and that's what you have to look at it like. And the faster you're going, the more you can keep your speed increasing, the closer you are to the finish line. That was a beautiful metaphor. That was a beautiful metaphor, right? Wow, I'm quite proud of that. Pretty solid stuff. Now, my laptop battery is at 10%, so I'm gonna have to go offline. I don't know where I'm gonna go, but this was useful. This was useful. That's actually a really good model. I'm happy with that. Right? We don't talk about Aura at all, but something tells me this won't be my first live of the day. So as soon as I get my laptop charged, I'm probably gonna go for another one. I've already done my short for today, and I'm gonna see how that goes. Yesterday's Houdini short got 8.5 more views, 8.5x more views in 17 hours, in the first 17 hours of release than anything else before, or the highest one before. So we're iterating, and it's working. We're creating this model from scratch, and it's working, and it's getting better and better. And of course, there is something to be said about the streamlining of the process, right? The technology, like editing software, things like that. Like my first short and my current short, like took me like it's much faster to do it now. And in fact, I'm actually adding time to it now. Like I'm using the same amount of time, but I'm able to do a lot more with that time, which is a good thing. Because I can dedicate the same time slot, like an hour, to like two shorts, and like what I get out of that hour is a much more refined short that you know is really good. And there's a big like iterative algo testing like needs an aspect of market research. There's an aspect of market research in there that's very important. You have to keep your ear to the ground, right? You have to keep your ears to the ground because right, I saw that Eminem Houdini was trending, how can I relate that to what I'm doing? I'm going to use the deep fake, talk about that. That relates to my thing, right? That relates to my thing, so I can talk about it. And then I relate it to not the product itself, but whatever um, problem that is agitated, right? So that's a new method that I'm using, and it's working out great. It's working out wonderful. All right, but yeah, that's where we're at right now. That's where we're at, and yeah, pretty solid, pretty solid, right? We're on this car, and it's getting faster and faster by the day. And I've already done a short today, but I'm thinking of doing one more just for fun, right? And I don't have an idea for it, but I want to see about kind of strengthening whatever idea of a format that I have for market research. Like what consists of market research, right? Is it going on X and going to the search bar and seeing what's trending that day, right? And seeing if that relates to whatever the hell that you're talking about, whatever the hell is your thing, and what is the best version of that, right? Because I'm thinking like, sure, Reddit and all these are really good for when you're formulating your argument, but when it comes to creating content, like the memory of people is like really popular things become old news really fast. Like a week or two ago, Drake and Kendrick were like, "Oh my God, like the biggest thing," and now it's like old news, right? And J. Cole's dropping Grippy, and Drake's dropping Wagwan Delilah. So you know things are cooking, and they keep cooking, and things get stale really fast. So you have to, like, you cannot go to like Reddit and things for finding out what kind of like deciding content. It's really good to get an idea of what people's mindset is like or what people's opinions are. And it's good for market research. And when it comes to like content research, it's not like, unless it's like literally a day ago or today where something's posted, which, if you have a niche problem, you're not going to find it. But yeah, you have to find, like, I'm now looking at the best ways to like apply iterative algo testing. You get it? Do you understand? Simple stuff, really. But yeah, man. Okay, okay. I think I've pushed it for as long as I can. My battery is at 4%, so uh, be good and do good things. Subscribe and good things happen. And what? Subscribe and good things happen. And I'll see you today, probably later, or like a little bit later. And shout out to Larry's Broadcaster. Shout out. Shout out to Larry's. Good stuff. Larry's Broadcaster. Okay, I zoned out. All right, 3%. Shit. This has been real. I'll see you in like a little bit of time, maybe like an hour. So